and this is something no one talks about, is like, because everyone talks about, okay, here's how to get to $1 million. Here's how to get to this. Here's how to get to that. No one talks about what happens after.
Okay, so what does embodying your future self look like to you in order to manifest the life of your dreams?
Embodying your future self. Oh my gosh. Well, whoa. I mean, embodying your future self, I feel like for me, it's really recognizing like, what is the identity of the version of me that has what I want? How does she walk? How does she talk? Does she have the same friends? Right? Does she call people to the same, the same way? Like every single aspect of your life, I think changes when you embody your future self, down to like your daily routine, where you're getting your coffee, everything. What are you wearing? I think for me, embodying my future self has always looked like really aligning myself with the thought process that my future self has as well. And yeah, just like bridging the gap between where you are today and where you want to go, and just like jumping right into that energy.
That's so cool. So do you like, I was just thinking as you were saying that, do you just like write a list of what that person does? Like for an example, where you get your coffee, like some people might be like, okay, you can go to like Dunkin's, not shitting on Dunkin's, but like maybe your future self goes to like this bougie coffee shop that you like want to be aligned with every day.
Yes.
So you like write down all the details of what this future self does.
Yeah.
And then you just start aligning with it.
The way I do it is I kind of like role play. Some people call it like method acting, like pretend you have like a camera crew following you and they're doing a documentary on your life. And just like, how would this version of you, if you were acting as her, act? And honestly, for me, I mean I don't necessarily write a list. What I do is what it's called, sorry, I'm like all over the place. Good. What I do is I do this method called scripting, where you write kind of like a diary entry from your future self, and really get in tune with her. The other thing that I think people forget is, at least for me, I think my intuition is like whispers from my higher self, whispers from my future self. And so a big part of like bridging the gap between where you are today and where you want to go is giving yourself permission to listen to that voice inside of you and not letting yourself silence it. Too often, I think we move based on our circumstances, and we don't move based on our intuition and what our true desires are. And I think that's been like the fastest way of like quantum leaped in my life.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what I've realized too is that like everyone has their different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like that would align with them. Like for an example, my sister does scripting. And for some reason for me, I literally, no matter how many times I've done it, I cannot feel it. Like I don't get in the vibe for it for some reason.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was a big eye opener for me, that I have to like also tweak it and keep trying new things until something feels aligned. And then I feel like, okay, this works for me.
Yeah.
But I think there's like obviously visualizing, and then maybe it is like writing that list and being like, okay, this is what this person does every day, and then you just follow that list.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to this coffee shop. Okay, this is actually me.
Yeah.
Like I remember someone, when I was going on a business trip, they bought us first class tickets when I was like didn't have the money and so forth, and I sat in the first class being like, this is my life,
right?
So like those little experiences, like taking it on and starting to like actually maybe feel it. Maybe some people have to do that.
Yeah.
Some people can script, some people like say it to themselves in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Like affirming. But yeah, that was a big eye opener for me, is like I had to keep switching things until I could figure out what it was. Another point you mentioned to me you just mentioned that I thought was so good is like, who are your friends? Do they hang out with the same people? That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, and I think even to your example of like being in first class and like envisioning it, I feel like for me, what I've noticed is like a big part of leaping into a new reality is like giving yourself permission to be in certain rooms, be in certain positions, because I think one of the things I teach is like you have to normalize things. Like you can't attract what feels uncomfortable, what you feel like you don't deserve. And so like being in that first class seat or like whatever it is, right? Or, putting yourself in that coffee shop, I think what it's doing is it's normalizing certain experiences for you. And so your nervous system feels like regulated and is like, wait, this is my new reality. And like you start to call in opportunities and say yes to opportunities that will open those doors for you.
For sure. Yeah. Like I was thinking randomly the other night, I was like, I remember back even to do a podcast episode, I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't sleep. I'm thinking about it. And I'll just go right into it because you get then used to these things and you
Yes.
normalize it. And then it's like everyone trusting that they will get to that place. It's like initially it feels uncomfortable for everyone, and just like write that new reality and start to make it not feel so unachievable, which is a
Yes.
huge piece.
100%. Yeah.
And you kind of go into a lot, which I loved. When I was watching your Instagram, is you go also into a lot of like your body and like attachment to foods, which was a huge one for me too. I had that. I had my own journey with that and releasing control over my food, and it was like an addiction. And so break us down like your experience, what you went through, and I feel like it's so helpful for people.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think what's so interesting is so much of the discussion around weight loss, dream body, all of this stuff with summer coming up. It's so much of like the logic, right? It's like, do this, do that, and you're going to get this, right? But I think people forget it's like, I know what I have to do. I just don't know how to do it. I can't get myself to do it. And usually that's the result of like your mindset, right? So for me, what was happening was I was like, I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, this is not the body I meant to be in. And I think like anyone who's been on a weight loss journey knows that feeling of like looking in the mirror and being like, this is not a physical representation of the soul, like the physical presence of my soul. And so I knew that in order for me to lose weight, I'd have to eat less. I'd have to walk more. I'd have to do all these things, but I literally couldn't get myself to do it. I'd constantly feel hungry. I'd constantly have cravings. And I was like, I wonder why I feel this way. 'Cause like, why are certain people not craving food? Why are certain people not hungry? Why are certain people satiated and I'm not? And I realized actually there was a lot of overlap between my weight loss mindset and my mindset around money, for example. I grew up with literally nothing. And so when I started making a ton of money, I was like, oh my God, I still feel poor. And it was such an interesting feeling because it's like, no matter how much I had, I felt like I never had enough. And I noticed that with my weight loss journey, it was like, no matter how much I eat, it's never enough. And so I realized this root problem of scarcity mindset is going to ruin my life. It's ruining my body. It's ruining my bank account. It makes me feel like I'm not deserving of certain things. It makes me feel like I'm not satiated in life. Even in my love life, I noticed, like, I felt like there was a scarcity of men in the world and I would never find the kind of man I want, right? And so I think one of the worst mindsets you could ever have is a scarcity mindset because it prevents you from ever truly being satisfied. And in order to lose weight, in order to have your dream body, you have to get to a point where you're like, I am okay and I don't need food and don't need this overabundance of food because there actually is an abundance. It's interesting. What I mean to say in all of that is like, the way to lose weight, people think it's through scarcity, right? Like limiting your options. But I actually found that I lost the most amount of weight when I gave myself the most amount of options and I made myself aware of, wait, I am not in scarcity. I have Uber Eats on my phone. I have food in the fridge. I have all this food in front of me. I don't need to eat it right now because it's still going to be here tomorrow and it's still going to be here next Tuesday. Like, I think the reason, a lot of people tend to gain weight, why I gained weight was I was like, oh my God, I have this cookie jar and I have to finish all the cookies right now versus being like, you know what, there's an overabundance of this food. I can eat it any day of the week. And so that was kind of how I lost weight, was just like creating abundance mindset and getting to the root of like, why am I hoarding this food? Why don't I believe I'm capable of walking 10K steps? Do I even believe I'm deserving of the body I want? Like, can I even identify with the version of, do I even know what it feels like to have that? So I think that's where you start to bridge the gap and then you call in that new reality.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. You said a lot of really good things. One of the things for me when you were speaking that I was like, it's so aligned was I was the exact same when I started releasing my attachment to food. And it's wild that there's not as much information out there about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, because my sister always was able to eat whatever she wants, didn't even think about it. She's always been so naturally skinny growing up. All they were lovely parents, but they'd always be like, oh, my sister, Natasha's so skinny, she can eat whatever she wants. I'm like, oh, Tara loves her food. And I'm like, it's not like a good thing to constantly imprint in my head. So then I started to think I had a problem and all the stuff, whatever. And so then I started to realize I was like tracking everything I ate. Like, oh, I can't eat that. Oh, wow, that looks so good. They're so lucky they can eat that. And it's like putting it on a pedestal now. It's so amazing. You can never have that. So now you want it way more than you would have if you could have it. Right. And so what you just said too was like the shift is like the abundance of food. And that is exactly now where I've gotten to now. Like I'll get to a place where I'm like, okay, I know I can eat whatever I want. Like almost restricting yourself more is like the opposite, which was what you said. It's like I'm on a diet. I have to watch what I eat. All that stuff makes you way more hungry, makes you want it way more, puts it on a pedestal, and actually gets you very out of tune with your body, right?
Yes.
Like, because once you start to feel like you can have whatever, you then kind of get to a place where you release the control and then you actually listen to your body. Like, am I actually hungry now, or is it out of like a necessity?
Yes, you stop acting from a place of survival mindset and you start acting out of abundance, out of desire. I think it's also interesting because I think a lot of the rhetoric around weight loss is like, it has to be so hard. Like you suffer and it's like difficult and it's hard. And honestly, that mindset got me nowhere, because who wants to do something they don't want to do? Who wants to do something that's a pain in the ass? Like, I convinced my subconscious to believe that losing weight, going on 10K steps, and whatever I had to do was actually really pleasurable and fun. And I made it fun. Like, you can make it fun. Like, I think people forget that part. But another thing, like, to the scarcity stuff is like, one day it really hit me where, I don't know about you, but like, I grew up hearing constantly like, finish your plate, like don't waste food, right? So I'd be like, oh fuck, like I shouldn't waste this food. And so, but those extra bites, they add up, you know what I mean? And so I had this like epiphany where I was like the food's going one of two places. It's either going in my body or it's going in the trash can. And my body is not a trash can. Like if I'm eating this extra food that I don't even want, when I feel full, I'm literally treating my body like a trash can. And so that like mindset really like shifted my understanding of like,
that's huge.
Yes.
That's a great one.
Yes, I know. Dude, I was like, what? But it's true. It's like, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people can relate to that in so many areas of life. It's not just like weight loss, it's like love life, like, or how are you treating your body and other, other things in life. So yeah,
that's huge. And you're so right. It starts to, and there's, I don't know if you've heard of Danny Morell, but one of his quotes that I love the best is like, if you're settling in one area of your life, like say you're just settling in your romantic life, you're also settling as an energy. So you're settling in all areas of your life. Yes. So like how you said the scarcity part, it's like, okay, well, what other areas am I feeling the same way?
Yes.
It's interesting because it's our energy that we're showing up to in multiple areas.
Yes. And I also think it's interesting too, because a big part of weight loss is for me, it was like, I realized I had extreme control issues and I was constantly in my masculine energy. I felt like I had to control everything. I felt like I always had to be on. I felt like, I felt like I had to constantly be doing. And in order for me to lose weight, I realized I had to step into like feminine energy and be able to like detach and trust. Like that was a big thing. Like I just didn't trust anything or anyone. Like I didn't trust people. I didn't trust the universe. I didn't trust, like, I don't know, maybe as a business owner you relate, like it was hard for me to trust team members even,
Yes.
And that like seeped into my body as well, because I didn't even trust my body to release the weight. Like I felt like I had to constantly be like constricting and holding on, and so much of weight loss is literally just letting go.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Yeah, because the root of like the weight is holding on.
It's holding on. Yeah.
Your body is physically holding on and energetically and everything.
Yes. And I mean, if you really think about it too, it's like cortisol. Like cortisol is like stress. It's, it's a hormone that's making you not necessarily gain weight, but it's making it harder for you to release weight. And so much of weight loss is done through sleep too. So it's like, you start to realize like, where in your life are you letting yourself go? Are you in a deficiency mindset? And you start to very quickly see like, this is why my body gained the weight in the first place. And something I want to say to people too is like, I hated my body at first. I was like, why would it gain weight? It hates me. My body is working against me. Your body is holding on to the weight because it loves you, because it's protecting you from so many things. So it thinks, right? You just haven't convinced your body that you're actually safe without the weight. And so one of the ways I saw this is like, I started drinking a lot because I had extreme social anxiety. So I was like, before I go hang out with my friends, or like before I go on a date, let me take a couple shots, and those couple shots add up, and then I'm gaining weight. And it's like my body was protecting me from social anxiety, but that developed into weight gain. And so all of the ways I've noticed that my body gained weight was a sort of like protective mechanism that I didn't need. And so the more I convinced my body, I was like, I'm actually safe. I'm okay. I'm full. I'm like everything's okay just as is. And I trust the universe. Like I release control. Another thing I had to do was like release the how. Like I thought it has to be this way. I have to go to the gym. I have to do this or Pilates. And it's like, no, I could just literally call my friends and go on a walk, and that's literally enough. So
exactly,
it's just crazy.
It's releasing the pressure of what it needs to look like is a huge one.
Yes.
Like, because when I had so much pressure of like I have to work out to like get this way, I actually like was forcing myself to do it rather than I'm gonna go because it makes me feel good, or I'm just gonna go on, like going from a place of like your feminine energy, like more soft and in the moment and enjoying it more. It's like you release the pressure and now you're doing it because you're like, no, I'm going to go because it makes me feel good today.
Yes.
You know, rather than I'm doing it to achieve some goal. It's like masculine, what you were just saying. How did this relate to you in your money mindset? Because I have I have a similar thing with the scarcity thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like, and I'm still dealing with this to an extent, like, and I think every entrepreneur probably does. Like, obviously I had this fear of like, not even fear. I just never felt satiated. Like, no matter how much I made, no matter how many followers I gained, I felt this sense of like, one, it could all go away. I think like everyone has that fear, right?
Yeah, that's a scary one.
Yeah. Like, what if tomorrow everything changes? But also I think the biggest thing was like, I never felt satiated. Like I never felt like this is enough. And I think a lot of that was because of, again, masculine energy, like living in the future rather than being present and being like, this is the exact, like, this is my life right now. Like enjoy it, experience it, like breathe through it, you know? And actually like right now is the most satiated I've ever felt, even though I'm not making necessarily as much. I'm still making a good amount. Like I'm not making like as much as I could be making, but how rich I feel is like, that's true wealth. Exactly. It's like, how rich do you wake up feeling? You could have all the money in the world, but if you wake up with anxiety and this feeling of impending doom, that's not wealth, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. It's not abundance. You're not on the frequency of abundance.
Yeah.
And you actually attract more when you're in that place.
Yes.
So you're like aligning yourself with such a happier life with all your dreams. That's so interesting. Yeah, I feel like I've noticed that too. It's like I constantly, and you're right, I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel the same way because that's kind of like the root of why they strive so hard is because they're the instability, the feeling of financial instability or scarcity. It's like, go, 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 next, 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 because you're just so scared of not having enough.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I know. It's a lot of pressure. It is. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know about you, but like for me, it's like I've literally made the most amount of money when I'm having the most fun. Like when I'm so in flow, I'm like, this just feels so like such a fuck yes. And I go for it. And that's when I make the most amount of money. It's usually not. And going back to like the how, I mean, every time I've done something because I thought it would make me the most money in the sense of like what other people are telling me, it's never been what made me the most amount of money. What's made me the most amount of money is honestly most of the time being a trailblazer, creating something that no one else has created just because something in my intuition was saying like, you need to make this. This feels right. This feels aligned. And I really feel like people's wealth, true wealth, like wealth that like their highest form of wealth comes from following their intuition. I've never seen it not work out that way. I feel like people lose a lot of potential money, happiness, whatever wealth is for them by going with the grain and following what other people are telling them to do versus what they know they want to do. Yeah.
And I think that's like, yeah. And I think for me, I have the biggest fear of having regret.
Yeah.
Like getting old one day and looking back at your life and then having regret that you didn't do something. And I don't know, I've always had that feeling. So I've always like that thankfully has pushed me a lot because I'm so scared to regret in life. Maybe in a past life I regretted a lot or something because I had that since I was a kid. I'm like, I always pictured getting old and regretting, even as a kid. I don't know why. Wow. So yeah, that's pushed me to be like, okay, go, achieve, like do things, even if it's scary.
Yeah.
But you're right, because the opposite, going after the things that are not aligned with you is like pushing against the grain, like you said, like forcing. Like it's very like masculine energy, and then a female energy is the attracting, going with the flow, like things are aligned. your
Yes.
intuition. And it's funny because we keep hearing this more, I guess, now that like females are being put to the forefront and everything is more about female empowerment. But you hear a lot about how powerful females were like previously back in the day. Have you seen those things? Like in the Egyptian times, like women, women like ruled. And it's so interesting because I'm like, it makes so much sense when you start to like get into your feminine, attract from that like, okay, masculine is do, which is obviously very valuable. Look how much it's created. But then also when you're in your feminine and you're attracting and you're aligned, like the abundance you can create with a masculine energy to do is like wild.
No, it's crazy. And I always say like, masculine and feminine is like the masculine is like building the foundations of a house, but the feminine is what makes it a home. It's the furniture, it's the ambiance, it's the music, it's the home cooked meal. Like a house with just foundations is nothing without the feminine energy, you know? And so I think that's like with anything in life, you know, entrepreneurship or your body, you know, like the feminine energy is so important.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me too, and I would love to hear this for you, is like, what are you doing? Because I now have seen like when I work a lot, I sometimes forget to go back into my own like wellness, meditate, align with myself. What do you do to keep yourself aligned, or when you know you're not like on track? Like, how do you know you're not on track? And then what do you do to get yourself back on it?
Interesting, because I feel like I just got out of this period. I'm not going to lie. I actually just went through a breakup. So,
wow.
And it's hard. I feel like you have to like in life sometimes, what was I going to say? Like it's not usually going to feel easy to like get back into alignment if you're in the thick of like it not being aligned, you know? I think a sign of things not feeling aligned is when time's moving really fast for you and you're like, I blinked and like 3 months passed and where did the time go? And you don't feel present. That's usually not, and not in the way of like, I think there's also a difference between like being so in flow that like time flies, but in the sense of like, what did I even do? Like you're not connected to yourself. Feeling out of alignment can look like knowing you deserve better, or something not feeling quite like, I think when I feel aligned, I wake up so excited to live. Like I'm afraid of dying. Like I'm like the last thing on earth that I want to happen today is like, I just don't want to die. Like that's how I know I'm like fully in flow. I'm like, oh my God, I just like want to live forever. Like really, I do. I'm like looking up that, what is his name? Brian Johnson, where he's like teaching people how to live forever. I'm like, okay, let me take notes. But like seriously. And like, and I think people forget like you can change your entire life overnight. Like you truly can, whether it's like a breakup or moving to a new city or leaving your job or, you know, whatever it is, like you can fall back into alignment very, very quickly. And I think when you're really in the thick of it, it doesn't seem like you can. And yeah.
No, I'm listening.
And so, no, you're
like,
good.
That's great.
What was the question again? Sorry.
No, you were when you can fall back into alignment at any time. That was a really good point. Because a lot of people feel like scared or stuck or there's no way I can do something different.
Yeah. And, but yeah, you were asking too on like how I get back into my like alignment and wellness and everything. Like for me, it's, I remember a time in my life where I felt very like, honestly, the way I explain it is like, I feel like I'm on Molly, you know, like in life, not that I've ever taken Molly, but like, that's what I imagine. It probably feels like when you're like, oh my God, life is so exciting. This is what I'm meant to do. This feels so right. Like the way I'm sure you feel about your career and I feel about my career. I'm like, this is 100% what I'm meant to do. Like no doubt about it. Like I wake up every day and I'm like, yes, this makes complete sense. And I feel like you want to feel that way about everything. The city you live in, the apartment you're in, the boyfriend you have, whatever, right?
Wow. That's impactful.
Right?
It's hard to do that though. I'm even not doing that in every area of my life. But that's like
hard.
Yeah, but you're so right. Like you're supposed that then you know something's not aligned.
Yeah, something's not there. And I think the only reason people don't fall into alignment is scarcity mindset, going back to that, because they think this is the best I can have. Or what if I don't find something? And I think you're forgetting how abundant this universe is, like, hello, and how abundant you are to create things that don't even exist. I think that's another thing. I was actually just talking to a friend and I was telling her, like, the people with the grandest, most abundant mindsets in the world are not the people who have everything. It's the people who are resourceful. Because if you are a resourceful person, you will create things that don't even exist and you will forever be abundant. And I think like even back to my life, like there were so many moments where I didn't have what I needed and I still somehow made it happen because my mind was abundant. I was resourceful in the mind. And so I think as long as you're a resourceful person, you will either find a way or be the way. And I think like those are the people who always win.
That's so true.
Yeah.
You're saying such powerful things. The point also when you said like feeling like a fuck yes in every area of your life, your relationship, your health, your career. I think a lot of that comes from also when I've dug into like spirituality and mental health and all this stuff is like our ability to believe that we could also deserve that is like a huge piece of it.
Yes.
It's like there's like a fear of us not feeling worthy enough to have that, which is also, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, will just stay comfortable, like not knowing if they even can believe themselves that they are worthy to have happiness in all these areas or like abundance in all these areas or feeling fulfilled in these areas or feeling like, fuck yes, this is the right thing. Like, it's the lack and scarcity and also the not knowing their worth.
I know. And I think part of not knowing their worth comes from like not believing they're capable of making something happen too. Like, I think some people just don't believe they have it in them to create things. And I think that's because I think there are some people who maybe focus more on like, they're maybe pessimists and they focus more on like, this is where things went wrong in my life versus constantly using every single thing that's gone right in your life as affirmation to your ability to create things, you know, like every single time something goes right, I'm like, period. Like the universe on my side, period. Lucky girl syndrome. Like I constantly reiterate to my mind, it is always working out for me. And I find proof of that every single day, every single where, you know, like, and so I think like when you do that, you activate this part of your brain that starts to believe you're capable of creating things. The universe is on your side. Things are working out for you. And it's this like compounding effect where things just naturally unfold.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying that, like, I'm lucky, like you're just brainwashing yourself. And then you start to see the areas that you were lucky and the universe is working for you and you see it more and then things are more aligned and now you're following your intuition better because you're now believing in more. Yeah. It's all just like first starting with yourself, like allowing yourself to believe it, because a lot of people will say they don't see a sign or they don't feel like the universe is working for them, but you have to like almost like get yourself to be a little delusional at the beginning and just be like, I'm so lucky, and then something small happens, like someone, you find $1 on the floor and then it's like, I'm so lucky, and you might feel like that's stupid in the moment, like, okay, it's just $1, but you have to like get yourself to believe that you are so lucky.
Oh yeah. And the second that delusion hits, everything is possible. I'm telling you, like it's like if you don't feel delusional, do whatever you can to get to that state, because once you're there, literally nothing could stop you. Like, you know, like once that energy activates, you're like, oh my God, I could literally do anything. I'll hit up anyone. Like, so yeah, it's a very powerful energy.
Yeah, it's so cool. Is there anything you're currently like learning about yourself or something you're really interested in that you would like to share?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think my breakup right now is like super activating for me because
let's talk about that.
You know what? It's insane. I knew that this person, even though he was, and something I think people forget is like, just because it's good doesn't mean it has to be enough. And I think a lot of people are waiting for catastrophe to change things in their life. They're waiting for crisis to change things. The job is good enough. The relationship is good enough. He seems perfect on paper, but something doesn't feel right. Like, I think one of the worst places to be in life is the golden handcuffs, where it's like it feels good, but you're handcuffed to a life that you don't want, or just doesn't sit right, doesn't feel in alignment. Like the same way I feel in alignment with my career, I didn't feel that same way with him. And so it wasn't that anything was bad. In fact, like literally all my friends were like, this man is perfect. Like, you're fucking crazy. Why would you leave him? And I was like, you don't get it. It's just, I know he's not my husband. I just knew.
Wow.
And so it was such a hard decision because in that moment I had to break up with him, even though literally everyone was saying this is not necessarily the right decision.
That's scary.
I know, but I just trust myself. I know if there's one thing in this life that I'm going to like put all my chips in for, it's my intuition, because it has never, ever, 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 ever steered me wrong. And I in that moment, I realized to like I was saying earlier, your intuition is literally just your higher self whispering to you. And if you start to silence that, what I noticed, until I didn't notice this until literally this week, was I was like, oh my God, first of all, my dreams have never been so vivid. My dreams are so vivid. I didn't dream at all when I was with him.
Wow.
Weird, right?
Yes.
But then get this. Now my intuition is like super loud. I feel so connected to myself. I feel like I can hear my like inner voice again. And
That's so cool.
It's insane. But what I didn't realize, I was like, because I silenced this voice inside of me that was saying like, you're not meant to be with him or something's off about this, because I was silencing that one voice, it silenced everything else. I didn't hear any other intuitive download, anything about my intuition. And so I didn't even realize, I was like, oh my God, you cannot silence those. Even down to like, there was a time where I was like not aligning with LA. I was like, maybe I'm meant to move. And I kept silencing that voice because I was like, oh, it's comfortable here. Everything was silenced. Like I didn't feel any activation. I didn't feel any energy. I didn't feel inspired. And I was like, something's off. It's like, there's something you're silencing. Like there's one thing you're silencing. Turn the dial up, listen to it, and like act on that. And then you'll start to hear everything else.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, a lot of the shit you're saying is going deep.
No, it's like real. I'm like,
okay. I'm like trying to, because it really impacted me. Okay, where do I go with this? That's so true.
yeah.
That's interesting because I went for so long. I was feeling like that. I was feeling like I couldn't hear my intuition for a while. And I was starting to get to a place, and I didn't know if it's because when I hit 30 and I'm like, okay, now I'm 30 and life, maybe it doesn't feel as exciting anymore, because I used to always be like very excited about life. And then I kind of like, okay, I got a lot of the things I wanted, but of course I want so much more. But still, it kind of got to a place where I'm like, okay, I would think to myself like, okay, maybe I just need to switch up the scenery or like go travel somewhere. But then there's like nowhere I'd want to go. And like, who would I even want to go with? And then I'm like, what? So it's like, okay, now I'm trying to push myself to like get out of this funk, but like nothing felt exciting anymore.
Oh my God. And this is something no one talks about, is like, because everyone talks about, okay, here's how to get to $1 million. Here's how to get to this. Here's how to get to that. No one talks about what happens after. And like, once you kind of have everything you put on your vision board, no one talks about what happens after you get everything you want, because there is this, like, I'll never forget, and this is such a privileged thing to say, but like, I remember there was a time where I was like, oh my God, I visited every country on my bucket list and I don't know where else I want to go. Like, and it was like kind of this feeling of like, I lived in anticipation my whole life that I didn't even have a chance to think about what would be on the other side. And like, it's kind of like, what's the guy who climbs up the mountain? I'm
not sure.
It's in philosophy or whatever. I forget. Oh my gosh, whatever. I'm blanking. But no one talks about it. And I think like actually like one of the most depressed periods of my life was when I hit a huge milestone in my business, and I was like, wait, I feel so empty.
It really is a true thing.
I feel so empty. And it's because I realized the journey like wasn't the destination wasn't, or what is it?
Yeah, the journey wasn't the destination.
No, wait, hold on.
The journey, is it right?
Or wait,
I don't
no,
know, something like that.
The I don't know. Oh, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And it really is. And it's about the why. Like, I think like this is so stupid, but like my sister right now, she like failed her SAT or whatever. And I was like, and you're going to give this one number the power to determine how you move tomorrow. You're going to give this same thing with my weight loss journey. It's like I'd step on the scale, the number would go up, and I'm like, well, I'm giving up. It's like, really? You're going to give a number on a fucking device, like ability to determine what you're going to do tomorrow? It's like, no, you have to get to a point in life where you're so moved by your convictions and not by your circumstances, and that's where you win, you know. But also I think I got to a point where I realized like the why is what moves me so much. Like I was telling my sister, I was like, you want to be a vet, and this fucking SAT, you're going to remember it one day and you're going to laugh, because there's going to be animals' lives that you are saving, that you're going to let this SAT decide, oh, let's give up on all these animals, let's whatever. It's like, when you are so moved by your why and you are constantly present and you remember that the journey is the destination in a sense, right?
Yeah.
like that's happiness, that's fulfillment, that's wealth. And I think I didn't know that until I hit that milestone, because it's like everyone says it, but you don't get it until you experience it yourself.
I know, and we're all like trying to get there so badly, unhappy that we're not there yet, and then unhappy when we don't get it. So it's like you gotta like really appreciate the journey and the why, like you're saying. How did you know, for people that feel like touched by what you said about your relationship and leaving when everything seemed good on paper, how did you know like when your mind was making excuses for staying and when it was your intuition? Because obviously there's so many people in relationships and they'll be like, no, but they have this and this and they really love me and this thing, and you want to make it work so badly and you're in that place. Like, how do you know the difference?
It's a feeling. It's not logic. And I think that's what people forget, is they think dating is a checklist. It's like, oh, he checks this off, he checks that off. And I was like, he checks everything off, but I don't feel like he checks my heart off, you know? Or like, I think I'm very in tune again with my intuition. So I think I just always have had this feeling of how I'm going to feel when I meet my husband, and when I feel like when I meet my soulmate. And I think in a lot of ways it's also determined by like my friends. Like I think I've had such profound friendships that are so deep that I'm like, I don't feel that level of depth with him. And I knew.
I felt that with
many
relationships.
Yeah.
When I'm like have some girlfriends and we like talk for like 14 hours, I feel, and we're like, oh my God, it's 11 o'clock at night. We've been talking for hours. Right? We don't even notice. Yeah. And then I had significant others where I'm like, what time is it? Okay, it's only been 30 minutes. What are we going to do? Right. And I was like, that's not good.
Yes. Like your minds don't align or something. Like I was like, something's off. So yeah, I mean, and it's not personal, you know, but I think it was a feeling. And I also, transparently, I knew the first date that he was not going to be my husband. I actually told him. I told him on the first date, I was like, I just want you to know, I don't want to date you because I already know you're not my husband. And he was like, he kept pursuing me. And then he gave me princess treatment. I was like, wait, I'll give him a chance. And then I started dating him and I was like, I'm going to date you, but I just want you to know, like, you're not my husband. And I think in a way, being so in tune with your intuition is kind of a blessing and a curse, because you kind of know how things end before they even start sometimes. But I don't think I would have met my husband when I meet my husband without him, because he taught me a lot of things. And I don't think every person has to be forever. And I think that karmic relationships are so real, like relationships that come into your life that teach you what you deserve, what is out there, what you want. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but
that's so interesting. Yeah. I was going to say real quick, every relationship that I have had, I always thought, because like for me, I never have been like, oh my God, this is like, it was always someone that like pursued me, and then I gave a chance to. It was never someone that I was like, oh, I would love to be with that person. I've always seen that like the ones that I actually am like that about are usually like I find out something like a big red flag. So I've always found love by it being someone that pursued me and like didn't give up and showed those qualities, and then I slowly grew into love. But I'm like, is that not good?
You know, I don't know. I think that's the question, because I'm trying to figure that out myself, because I actually was just around my girlfriends about this. I was like, yeah, like, because I've always felt more like the men that I like want but don't necessarily want me back are the ones that I feel like are more like, oh, that's my husband, you know? Yes. But then it's the guys, but I end up with the guys that pursue me hard, which in a way I think is a good thing, because feminine energy, period, chase me. Like, but I'm also like, why did you think I was so out of your league that you like went above and beyond to like woo me over? So then clearly there was like an imbalance there or something. And I think, I don't know, I'm kind of waiting on that connection where we both kind of want each other from the jump just as much. I think I'll always want a man to pursue me just because, period.
Yes,
but
you need that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. And then it was funny because one of my girlfriends said the last relationship was when I was in it, I kept saying like, yeah, but it's probably not the one, or like, yeah, but I kept questioning it the whole relationship. And then I spent so many years with this person. And it's kind of like, it's wild to think that like, yeah, you could be saying it from the beginning, but then just talking yourself into it. Yeah. And then waste so much time.
No. I know. And I don't think it's a waste per se, but it is crazy how I think, especially as women, we just know right away. And I also think that like, sometimes our opinions of like being in relationships are swayed by people who don't even know what they want, or they don't have high standards. Like, I'm like, to you, what he's doing is crazy. To me, that's bare minimum. So like, I get that you're like obsessed with it and you think it's crazy, but I'm like, my standards are on a different level, you know?
Yes.
And I think that my standards are like that because I know what I bring to a relationship as well, you know? So
exactly. And the more you love yourself, the more you work on yourself, the more your standards raise. And I saw that really clearly. Like, exactly. I'm like, in my dating life, I was single for like over 2 years, and I didn't even kiss anyone, nothing, because the more I worked on myself, the more I was like, there's less and less people that were like aligned that I would feel like are in a place where I was like, okay, that's the one. So I was like, I need to be okay with like making my sacred space, and then because I'm not just sharing my energy with anyone, I'm like elevating my energy, I'm attracting better people, and like, so that was also a place I went through too.
I'm curious because on the note of scarcity, something I've been dealing with, because even though I'm a manifestation coach, I'm aware of like where my scarcity mindset can come in, is I don't think there's a scarcity per se, because I think at the end of the day, it's like I need one husband and he exists somewhere, right? So, but I think like being a successful woman, obviously I want to be with a man who's more successful than me, right? And so what I realize is I'm like, damn, these men who are super successful, they have unlimited options. Whereas me as a successful woman, my dating pool is like tiny because there's only so many.
That's what I was going through.
Do you feel that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the more successful you get as a woman, the less options you have.
Right. Whereas for them, it's vice versa. Yeah.
For them, it's more options.
I know.
Yeah. Because a guy doesn't really need to, it's not in a guy's like, guys don't feel the need to be taken care of. They like to take care of you, so then they can literally take care of anyone. The more successful they get, they don't care if you're a waiter, or like they don't care if you like teacher, what you are. They just are like, okay, well, if you're the right one. Like, it kind of is a little fucked up that in life, like I feel like men have so much more options than women. I don't know if that's just because we're living in our world, it feels like that.
I know.
But yeah, and then because I've always, and that's a big fear of mine too, because I've seen my mom get divorced, and I've now, being with her, and I've seen her life, and my dad got remarried, and I see a lot of like women later in life end up more likely to be single than men. Men usually just find someone,
yeah.
And so it always makes me fearful. Like, I need to make sure I find the right person, because I don't want to get divorced, and I don't want to be like later in life feeling lonely and like I didn't end up with the right person. So it's a lot of pressure, but I think what we always come back to, because we have this mindset, is like, okay, the thing I always tell myself that helps me a lot is like, if I exist, someone else exists also. Yeah. Like, if I have this depth where I like to go really deep, clearly you do too, because you've had relationships where they're not that, and I've had the same. If I have this depth, if I have this motivation, if I have this love inside me, and I'm loyal to a significant other, and I could be this person, then I have to believe there's someone else out there too. And so you just have to keep going back to being like, I have to just trust that it's gonna come.
And I think too, like, even just like seeing my friends, I'm like, if my friends exist, a guy has to exist like that too. Like, I'd marry my friends, to be honest, if I could, but like, I feel like, and I think it's great because I have met men who like do like, I've seen enough men to where I've started to believe it exists. I think another big thing that people deal with, unfortunately, is like it's hard to normalize something when you don't see it. So you really want to put yourself in rooms, like even when in business or whatever, it's like you want to put yourself into spaces where you see exactly what you want and you see other people getting it. And so I started to hang out with women who are in relationships that I like aspire to be in. And I'm like, okay, it's somewhere out there. It exists.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But obviously it's like scary, the scarcity, but honestly it's like, it's really, if you break down the numbers, it's not that scarce, because even if it is less men but you only need one, it's still a lot. So
yeah, you don't need a few.
I don't need 100 of them, I just need one. Okay,
just one. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I'm so proud of you for actually like committing to yourself, because like we only have one life that we know of. And wouldn't we like to end it being like, wow, I really lived it. I'm so happy with the person sitting next to me and the career that I built and the children that I have. And that's what you want to pray that you end up there.
And that's really what was actually, if I'm being honest, the thing that pulled me over the edge on like the breakup was I was like, I'm tuning into my future daughter right now, and this is not her father.
Wow.
And throughout the entire relationship, I was like, this is not my daughter's father. And like, honestly, if I wasn't going to do it for me, I was going to do it for her, because I felt like my mom never did that for me. Aww. So I was like, I owe it to her to make this decision, you know, and make the right decision. And also it's like, she's not going to exist. Like you know what I mean? Like, it's so really true. That deep. Like it really is that deep. And I think too, it's like,
that's so true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
that really beautiful. Like, she won't even exist.
She won't even exist.
Yeah. So true.
It's that deep. And I think people forget that. They think it's like dating. It's like whatever. Yes, it is fun. But you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to have a family and all the things, like there, you know, and what I was going to say is like, I just love myself too much. Like, not in an egotistical way, but I've done so much work on myself, and I've grown to love the version of myself that I've become, because I have put in so much work to become her, that it's like, I owe it to me. I owe it to my 12-year-old self to be with a partner that I feel like I wake up every day being like, this is my match, you know? So
it's so true.
Yeah.
And then, because also too, especially when you're like spiritual or doing mental health and working on yourself constantly and not being afraid to look at your pain so that you can grow into your best version. If you're with someone that's not doing that, it's so hard.
It's so
because you're like, if you only could just see where you're holding yourself back, and then you're like a coach full time.
Okay, literally, I was going to just say that. Like, I think the trap a lot of us spiritual girlies get in is we become a man's life coach. And I'm like, no, I want it the other way around. You be my life coach. Like, and I want to be with an expander. I want to be with a man who like opens my eyes to things that I can't even see, which I've found with some men, but it's like, I feel like it's a little bit rare, you know, but yeah. So
wow, that's so true. And I've been in those relationships.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, because a lot of men are not in a place to also know that they can explore their feelings or feel comfortable doing that. And I think that the more in depth you go with yourself, the more you need that in a man.
Yes.
Because like the more shut off they are with their emotions, the harder it is for us to like feel connected.
Yeah.
Like I get more and more distant.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I need an emotionally deep man like that for sure. Yeah. But I'm like, I wonder what guys think about this, you know? What they even want. You should have a guy on the pod. Like,
I know.
You know.
It's hard to find guys that want to go emotionally deep, though.
Yes.
Or like they think that they're going deep, but it's not deep.
It's like, I knew this when I was 10 years old. Yeah, that was.
For me, like growing up, it's always been very important to me to have like success. That's been like my number one thing. And I've always been like hardworking, and that was instilled in me by my dad. So like just what I realized as I got older is that I clearly had some sort of like dad wound, but not in the way like, not maybe in the way of like needing a man, but more in a way like I want my dad to be proud of me. So like because he was such a hard worker, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be a hard worker and I'm gonna achieve, and so I was like, that was all I focused on. Damn. So like relationships always was like the back burner. Like if it happens, it happens, not really as important to me. So for me, because I have that, and it was funny because I've had people that like read your birth charts, and they always tell me I have mine very heavily in.
What's your big three?
What does that mean?
Like, what's your sun?
Oh, okay.
Do you know it?
Yes, it's my rising is Capricorn, my sun is Aquarius, and my moon is Pisces.
Oh my God, wait, that's such a good mix.
Oh, really?
Wow, yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. Capricorn is like, I'm a Capricorn sun, Sagittarius moon, Leo rising.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like we fit that.
Yeah.
Wow. But what did they say?
Yeah, so mainly I see that it's even in my birth chart that I'm super about success and that. So for me, it's not attractive, even though I know it's like a very big trigger for men, if there's men listening, to feel like women only want men that are successful. But the thing for me, and there's some women that I know that don't care about that like I know many influencers or business owners that the woman is like the breadwinner and they're dating a guy that's not. For me specifically, because that's like such an important quality to me, and because I want to go so far in my career beyond this, right. I feel like it's attractive to me to have a man next to me that also wants that.
Yes.
Because I feel like you are who you date, and like they rub off on you a lot, and I want someone that like motivates me to always get up and do it again and so forth. So to me, that's a very important one. It hasn't been as important to certain friends of mine and people, but for me, that's like a very, like, I won't even go on a date with you unless I know that you're like,
oh my God.
an achiever.
And it's hard because it's like, we're already so successful. So it's like, fuck, like, and it's sometimes you think a guy is successful and then you go on a date with him and you're like, okay. Yeah, cute startup, like
yeah, because you want them to also like, and it's okay if they're not fully there yet, but you can feel it in the mindset of like how they think. Are they limited? Are they lackful? Like if they're complaining about things,
they have to be.
Yeah, so I think all that stuff. It's like I don't want those negative qualities to rub off on me. I can't have that. I've been working myself on the scarcity and limitations for so long, so it's a big one for me.
Hurt right now. No, because that's the thing is like the reason I think we both need it is because I cannot come home and talk to a man who's like in scarcity mindset and I'm like, yo, I've worked literally too hard to come back to conversations like this.
Exactly.
And it's just like
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. Huge.
That's number one.
And then and then what I'm realizing more and more is I like the emotional depth one keeps coming up for me. I keep dating men that are not comfortable with and I was going to make a podcast episode on this because it was a very big eye-opener for me, so I'll go into it a whole nother time in more depth. But what I realize is I'm attracting men that can't be there with me on emotionally deep level because, which was an eye-opener, came to me a little not too long ago, because who's like that in my life? My dad. He never was connected to me on an emotionally deep level. I always felt like he didn't fully understand me, or like I would always be misunderstood in situations that happened. He'd be like, he would look at it the wrong way or not take the time to like really see me because, but they always say like, you can only see someone else as far as you've seen yourself, or, so he also hasn't done the work with himself, and it's all fine. But it's interesting because then that's what I learned love was. I have to keep fighting for you to want to connect with me and open your heart. And that's what I've found love is. And so had this, when I was meditating on it, I was imagining like, oh wow, I'm literally like, there's all these men that have their arms open and they're connected with their hearts. And I'm literally walking up to the guys that are like going like this and be like, open your arms, show me your heart. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? It's exhausting.
Yes. But isn't it crazy how we just like relive those patterns?
Yeah.
But it's good to be aware because then now you're like, okay, eyes open, like, yeah.
So that's another like big thing for me now that I'm like, okay, I need to make that more of a priority, that I have to feel like someone is going to connect with themselves on a deeper level or look at their wounds. We all have them. Like, it's fine to have them. It's like we can love each other through our wounds together and become stronger. So you want someone that does the work too, I feel.
Yeah.
It's another big one.
It's a big one. Is someone spiritually open too? Like, I think men are more like biohacking and like self-development, but I'm like, whatever you call it, just you have to be aware.
Exactly.
You have to be aware. Yeah. But honestly, I feel like at least for me, I've noticed like men who are very successful are usually there. Like they've done the work. That's what got them there, you know? So yeah.
Well, some of them that I've dated feel like that getting in touch with their emotions is holding them back.
In what way? I actually was going to ask you, when you talk about they're not like emotionally deep, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, like for an example, they feel like, okay, I don't have time to stop and see like how I feel right now.
Oh, and they just persevere. They keep
They're
going.
just go. They're like, okay, but like you're not saying that like I feel disconnected to you, or like you can get this thing that you want so much easier if you just stopped like forcing and you actually like, came from a place of abundance. Like I'm like trying to coach them along the way. I'm like, trust me, you're forcing it right now. You're getting problems because you're doing that. And it's like, they do make it in their lives because they're constant, but they don't realize like, what are they exchanging in the process? Their health, their relationships, their love life, their, peace.
But then they seek that in women. They're like, oh, you got to fix all my problems, make my food, whatever. Yeah.
And then for me, it's like, now I'm not the easy woman to date though, because I'm not the girl that's like sitting at home being like, oh, you just work today? Okay, let me like massage you and let's just make it easy. We don't have to talk about anything. Like, it's just like, I'm not that girl either. I'm like, so what's going on and how is it and how do you feel about that? And why do you, okay, but do you see how you're doing this? And I want to like analyze and go deep. And like, they're like, geez, I'm just came off work. Just back the fuck up. I can feel that I'm like annoying, but I also like, that's what I do with my own self. Like I work a lot. I then analyze, like, why are things not working out for me? I do these, and I like to have those conversations with people, like my best friends, and hopefully the person I end up with. So
No,
it's
literally.
interesting.
I know it. And I think that's like a really, I unfortunately think that's like a very, like on a shadow level almost. Like that's one of my limiting beliefs, unfortunately, that I'm really working on is like, because I'm so driven, because I'm so successful, I'm not going to attract a man who is as well. Because I'm like, do they want a woman like me? Like, I would hope so. But
thankfully, that's all I've attracted. So
really,
I'm living proof.
okay, that's really good to hear because I feel like
it was a switch for me. I don't know what it was, but my sister always had a hard time. She was always the one that made more, and then was like, okay, well, I just don't believe that I can have someone where I also love their personality and I think they're funny and they're successful. She just didn't believe that. And I was like, well, why don't you believe that? And then so now she's gotten so much better at believing that. For me, I was like, I think it was always that part of me that told myself, like, if I'm existing, then someone else is existing. Also, there are men out there, and of course not all of them, but there are men out there that find it very like sexy and hot to have a woman that's also empowered, that also doesn't like need them. Like I have most of the guys that I've dated, I feel like a part of them, it's like kind of nice for them to know that I don't need them for their money, and I'm also not with them for that,
right?
Because they are used to that. Like most of the successful men I've came across are so used to women using them for their money, and that they like, I've never needed them for it, which is also like a part of them that's like, oh shit, does she like really need me? Like I have to almost work harder to get, I can't just put money in her face and make her. So there's also something about that makes them like the chase, because like when they get successful and they have money, it's almost like they have control over a woman now. Like, you need me. I'm the reason you go to these nice restaurants, and I'm it's like a little bit of controlling. It's like, I can do this without you.
Right.
I really want to go eat here. I'm going to go fucking eat here, motherfucker.
Literally.
There's something about that. It takes a very masculine man to be okay with that, though. So you're not going to attract the guys that are insecure, but they use their money to control and hide their insecurity. You're going to attract more men that have to be way more secure with not having a woman that is needing them financially, which is a different type of man.
See, I needed to hear that because I need to just, again, this is how I create beliefs. I see other people who've done it and I'm like, okay, so if she's done it, I could do it. But yeah, because I feel like I've tended to attract men who make less than me, which also makes sense because I'm only 24. So like the men I'm dating, you know, like a lot of them are just starting their careers.
You're such a baby and you're so wise. You just blew my mind. You're only 24. Wow.
But whatever. So some of these guys I'm talking to, I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, like you just graduated or whatever, you know. I'm like, so it's hard, but it's good to hear that they exist. And I think it's interesting because I feel like the men that I have met who are successful, who do feel like they're like, oh, women just use me for my money. And I'm like, well, you've got to offer something else if you don't want them to use you for your money. If money's the only thing you have to offer a woman, then of course, you know, but they don't have the emotional depth, or they don't have, you know, the whatever it is. So yeah, it's a really interesting topic. I feel like people aren't talking about it enough, even though it's like, I think a lot of women nowadays are outperforming men, and it's like, it's hard. It's something, you know, because I still want to be in my feminine energy. I want to be pursued. I want to be spoiled, you know, but that's sometimes hard to do when,
And I think it's a very big trigger for men when they hear it, because I see it in comments and stuff.
Yeah.
But it comes down to when a woman wants to like have a baby and like now like have that time with their kid, like they want to feel safe.
Oh my God. This is the thing. So, and this is what a lot of people in my life couldn't understand about like my previous relationship is like, or just relationships in general. Like the reason I want a man who's well off and successful is for two reasons. It's not because like I'm materialistic or whatever. It's because like from a man, what I want is protection, and I want safety, and I want security, as is normal, as is biology. And money has forever been, like my whole life, it has been the root of like me not feeling safe.
Exactly.
Not being able to get medical care or whatever, like stupid stuff. But it's like, it's prevented me from feeling like fully protected in my life. And I always felt vulnerable because I didn't have money. So I feel like, of course, I want a man who has a lot of wealth so that I feel protected and safe, because in the material world, a form of safety is wealth, right? Mm-hmm. So I think men don't understand that maybe, but some men, and the other thing is, I think a man who has I think if he's self-made and he's created a lot of abundance for himself, then he's operating out of an abundance and resourceful mindset, which means that no matter the situation with my future children or me or whatever, he'll always find a way.
100%.
You know?
I've seen that with all successful people. Like they've always, and that's what, and honestly, like dating men that was what were like achieving and stuff has influenced me a lot, which is important. I feel like why I like it too. It's like they can see areas in my life. They're like, hey, if you just did this, it's nice to have someone that can help you too.
Yeah.
And it's a very masculine energy to do that.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, like, the most successful people I've ever met, it's all, I've met so many of them that are like, I made it and then I lost it all. And then I made it again and I lost it all. And I can make it again tomorrow. Like, and I'm like, wow, that's a real like level of confidence. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's like safety with knowing like, okay, I can lean on them when I need to. They'll have my back. And like,
I'll always be okay.
Well, that's something I don't think men like give enough grace to is how much like having a kid and raising a kid is so much more a woman's job. And the amount, like, we're literally like sacrificing our bodies. And like the amount of emotions and everything and that goes into it. Yeah. Shedding our identities, rebirthing. It's like, it's a lot.
This is my thing. This is why I will never marry a man who makes less than me, because of the simple fact that when you have children with a woman as a man, she will always take on, like, it's not 50-50. There's nothing 50-50 about her having to sacrifice 9 months of her life to carry a child. Literally, like, I mean, I would die for the kid, you know, like you're giving up your entire identity. That's if you have one kid. Now, if you have more, that's 9 months and 9 months and 9 months, and then breastfeeding. And like, it's also like just your mindset shift as a woman. It's like, when I have kids, I don't think I'm going to want to sacrifice as much time for my career when I could be spending it on my children. And so there's nothing 50-50 about it. And I feel like the only way for a man to make it somewhat equal is based on what he can provide in the physical. Because I'm going to be providing in the spiritual, he has to provide in this physical, you know?
That's interesting. I never thought about that. Yeah, like we're sacrificing our bodies and all these things, and they sacrifice, like, I mean, it kind of goes back in the day, like they're the hunters, they go get the food. Like it is interesting. But I know it's a very triggering topic, and I think what we can say about it is that everything works differently for everyone. Yeah. Like I've a friend of mine, they're like, we were talking about the subject and why it bothered him so much about it and why he got triggered about it was because his dad was the one that stayed home and his mom was the one that was very successful. Yeah. And they've worked to this day. So like there is, you know, I think it really comes down to you and like how you were raised and your beliefs. And I don't think anyone should get mad at someone for having that. It's like we all should go after and align with what we truly feel we need, you know? And you can't get mad like, oh, all these women just want guys with money. It's like, no, there's also women that don't. So,
right. Yeah.
You know, like you can't get mad at the ones that do, because then they're just not going to be happy. Wouldn't you just want them to be unfulfilled in the relationship? So we all should go after exactly what we want. And there's this spiritual teacher that I love. I don't know if you've ever listened to her, but she's so like real. And I don't, she's not as like mainstream, but her name's Teal Swan. Have you heard of her?
I feel like I have.
Okay. She's so good. But anyway, she always talks about like whatever dream you have, like if it's to be famous or have a certain amount of money or whatever, she's like, go after it. Like if you have that feeling, you have to go achieve it.
You do.
Like go after it, because that's the only way you will either realize it's not the answer, or you will be able to start to grow into like what is your true self will become. Like for an example, if you live your whole life and being like, shoot, I really wish that I, you know, did that one thing in my career that you always wanted to do, and you had that dream and you never did it, you're always going to feel like you like there's something missing.
Yes.
But if you go after it, it might not make you fulfilled, but at least now you know, or it might make you fulfilled and then it makes you become your best version. So like you have to have these feelings that we're feeling, whether it's to date someone that makes you feel financially secure. All these things are with us for a reason. We need to go after it, have it, so that we can realize all the answers we needed to gain from having that thing, so that we can either evolve or, you know.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said too about like people's destinies. Like if you desire something, then it is your destiny. I've always said desire is destiny, because I don't remember who said this, but someone once, I was watching a video where this girl was saying like, that like we're kind of like almost like angels from God put on earth, or like we're like soldiers of God, or like we're like little, like together as a collective we create the universe, right? But if one person in this collective is not living up to their desire or their calling, or what that, you know, what your higher self is telling you to do, then you're denying the destiny of the entire picture almost, in a way. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
Because I'm
cool.
like, if I didn't post that first TikTok video, I wouldn't have made my TikTok account. I wouldn't have started my podcast or whatever. You wouldn't have started your podcast, and then thousands of people wouldn't have like learned something that changed their lives. And it's like, when you don't listen to your own desires, you're denying other people's destinies. You're like, you know what I mean? And
So true.
I'm like, yeah, maybe I want a rich man right now, and I think it's for this reason, but maybe it's because, I don't know, my future daughter needs to go to this college and she needs to afford it, or God knows, you never know. So it's like, listen to your destiny and own it, you know? It's your destiny. Desire's
and it's
destiny.
mainly like not feeling ashamed of your dreams. I think a big thing is like societal like things on like, even so many kids now want to be an influencer today.
Yeah.
And it's like, it might be embarrassing for them to say that they want that, but it's like, okay, if you want that, you need to go after it and achieve it to see if it's wasn't the answer or if it was. Like either way, you got to go after it.
You gotta, can't live in
gonna be
regret.
living feeling like there's something always missing, you know?
Yes. Oh my God, so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, why not? That's another thing I don't get is, I'm like, everyone thinks you have to do a traditional path, and I'm like, just no, you don't. Like, you really don't, you know? And I think it's sad, because I feel like I see so many of my friends who I'm like, you would make such a good business owner if you only believed in yourself. And I actually think that's the only difference between, not everyone's meant to be like a business owner, put that out there, but the people who I think deep down want it and don't go after it, the only thing holding them back is like the belief that they can't make it happen, or like something internally. And that's really sad, because it's like, it is all mindset. It's not, you're not missing anything, you just have to post a video.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Oh, it was so lovely having you on. You're so
know,
awesome.
oh my
I literally am
gosh.
blown away that you're 24. You're so wise. And I just want to say you will find the person of your dreams for
Calling it
sure.
here.
You're literally like, you're manifesting it now as we speak. And so I'm so excited to watch your journey. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me at on TikTok, Instagram at Hot High Priestess. My podcast is The Priestess Perspective, and yeah.
And you do coaching for manifesting. Tell people about that.
I do. If you go on my Instagram, the link in my bio, you can grab my Manifest Magic workshop. I have a couple other programs that'll help you manifest whatever it is you want. They're really good, so go check it out.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
that was so
thank
awesome.
you.
You're so lovely.
Oh my God, you are. Oh my God, that was
great.
so good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yay.
Please comment, let me know what parts you loved the most, and tell me what you want me to speak about next. I read them all, I respond to you all, and please subscribe. This means the most to me to come on here each week and connect with you all. I love you so much, and as you know, I come back every week, so I'll see you soon.